The number one reason I have seen ClickUp fail with marketing agencies who have team size of 20, 30, 40, 50 employees is they don't know how to structure it the best way. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my exact blueprint on how I build digital for digital marketing agencies, a ClickUp system that is both scalable, is both efficient, and very easy to understand. So if you struggle with building a full-on ClickUp scalable system, I'm going to show you a very short and sweet way on how to do this in this tutorial. So jump in your ClickUp, and the overview I always say in ClickUp is you have to have a specific space of, I say, imagine one space being a part of a company. So always, let's say our company is called Well Design, which is my company. Shall be taken. So let's start with Well Design, right? I usually keep one space for fulfillment. I have one space for internal stuff and then one space for extras if it's needed. But ideally, we want to start off with one space for fulfillment, and that's the most important part. So don't have one space for each department. Like, hey, like I have seen people time and time have one space for SEO, one space for PPC, one space for blog posts. Like, don't have a workspace for every single thing. Have one workspace, then have departments for each thing. So and don't like create a client in a list or something. That makes zero sense unless you have like 2 clients in total and they are like major. But I've never seen that being the case of people having 2 3 clients and they pay them 40K per month. But if you're at agency, go for it, have a list. But my structure is always like this for all agencies involved. You create, in this case, folders for each department. And this is if you are like 30 to 40 to 50 employees. I think that's the sweet range to use when you have systems like this. So let's call the first department SEO if you're doing SEO. Second department, let's call it social media marketing. And this is like TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, like anything that's under that segment. Just pick social media marketing. You can have one, like, in short, if you deliver on like TikTok or you post that on Meta ads, and if it's like similar ads, keep it under the same bracket because it does help a ton. So SEO, we're going to have SEO, we're going to have social media marketing, and let's say you have the third space of ads. Right, you can call whatever you want. Like the names doesn't really matter that much as long as they're efficient and working together. That's the main goal. So the structure I always do in all ClickUp teams is have, or bigger teams at least, not smaller teams. So if you're like 10 or 5 employees, do it in lists instead. So do it like you don't need a full-on folder for each one. It just makes things complicated. So do folders for each and one if you're a bigger team, like 20 and plus. I think that's the first step of actually building a ClickUp. And I want to make this as kind of efficient and very, very overview easy for you. So I don't want to go into details on what like things to include, what specific things to add. I want you to structure it the right way, and then you can rest and watch the rest of my videos on how to actually build the specific stuff. And I have a video on how to actually build and explain every single column in ClickUp. So this is for the structure, and this is how to actually make it efficient. So in short, I recommend having one list for, in this case, fulfillment. So one department for fulfillment. I like to have one actual for internal stuff within like the department. Like if you are 10 people under SEO or like the PPC or whatever, then have that as an internal stuff, because there are some internal points that you are not going to have in fulfillment side. So fulfillment side, this can be stuff like, let's say, the create or write copy on the site, ask for ideas, whatever, right? And internal stuff can have like weekly catch-up meeting with the team. So that's the difference. And yes, make sure to segment those separately. So have one for fulfillment and one for internal stuff, because it does make a huge difference. And please, if you're a bigger SEO team, as I said, segment it very clean and neatly. Don't make it too complicated and having multiple lists for each client. Make it clean and make it easy to understand, okay? So First step, a fulfillment internal. Then in some cases, it depends on what team you have, because I know some teams, there are a couple of things. One team, they can have all clients in, let's say, on the one bracket. This is one bracket, right? There are teams as number two. They have like three brackets, and all of them have different clients. So Google Ads are like local businesses. They have Meta Ads for like online businesses, and then they have SEO for like also more local. Like it depends. So if you have the clients, and if most of the clients are in similar brackets, and if the team work together, then I do recommend doing it like this. So listen up. If you have multiple clients doing SEO, like if you're not separated and have everything in one, more or less like all clients doing, have they both SEO service, both ads. Of course, not all clients have to have all this stuff, but most of the stuff, at least one, two, or three. Then I recommend creating another folder called clients, and then you list all clients under there, and you just create relationship tasks. And the thing I mean with relationship tasks is, you, let's say, do it like this. You add a call relationship call client, and then you just add that from the relevant list. So clients list, and then you can just connect that with the client. So I have Henry over here. Henry works for Amazon, let's say. Hope good for Henry, I guess. So add that task, and you can just kind of connect it, and this will always be natively within the same stuff, right? So for ad, we have to post on IG, right? Whatever. And the same thing, connect the same thing here with the relationship here. So just pick the same thing, pick client, and then pick the correct list, which is clients, and then create, right? And you can just add existing field. We just create a duplicate field, but that's fine. I think we have to do it again. Client, clients, and create, right? It's a bug, actually quite interesting bug, that, let's add Henry has both social media and has both SEO. Interesting bug from ClickUp. If you create relationships in two different departments, it's always going to say error the first time for all of them until you create a second time. Then the error disappears. One thing, but yeah, either way. So if you have the same clients, then we who work on SEO maybe also work on the blog side of things. Who knows? Then we can have access to the same client view of just a client here, and have, okay, Henry likes to write about, let's say, birds. That's his SEO stuff. He's selling birds, bird shelling shop, whatever. Right. So if that makes sense, so in short, we want to have relationship tasks to clients if they have multiple services on your company. But some clients are like so big, and some teams you can't have everything tied in. And I guess for some of you guys who have like 100 plus employees, or 80 or so, I believe under like the 70 or 80 mark, this is probably need to be even more segmented. Even like 50 can be pushed sometimes, kind of depending on how you structure the team. So you create another list, and actually called another list called clients under here. So this depends if you have how many clients you have. Sometimes you have to have one list for clients here. And I almost recommend this as well. If you want, like, this is like personal stuff depending on the team here, but you can have relationship tasks under each department, right? So you can have same here. We have fulfillment. Let's say we create another one. Let me just rename this fulfillment. Then we have another one of internal, and then we have another one of course, clients, right? If that makes sense. So in short, you'll have the same structure for everything if you have a lot of client information and a lot of client. I know this is more specific to like creative agencies and not people who just do like meta ads. But yeah, if you have a lot of like attachments, folders, files, sheets, I maybe recommend for you to try out having a no separate list for each department for the clients. But cons, pros, there are both to this. The pro, of course, is that it's very easy to find and have access to, and each department can have like their own information, own stuff. Because sometimes when you work with marketing teams, and of course you guys know as a marketing team or an agency, that you have access to different people depending on what you do. So for SEO, you can access to one person. For the meta ads, you have access to one person. For the payment, it's someone else, right? So it can depend. It depends on how you structure your work. That's what I'm trying to say here. And the pro of this, of course, you have can have different stuff. So let's say you have another client which is different to the guy who handles the payments. Then it makes more sense to have a list like this. The con is that people in the lists can have different information. So let's say if you have the same person in all of the lists, if you have Henry and clients here and Henry here and Henry here, right? In all the different lists, and it's the same person, same information, that once Henry does an update or sends something useful, that's okay. I have just changed my logo on this stuff. You have to manually go in to Henry over here, who works at Amazon, and you have to remind all of the teams, assign myself team, hey, Henry has changed his logo. Make sure to fix on all SEO pages, right? And I have to do this for all departments. Okay, I have to go here, I have to go back to clients. And of course, there are workarounds to this. Like, sure, you can have, like, in this case, some people would suggest, okay, what if I just have a dashboard, right? You can have a dashboard, you can have a discussion place, like this, you can just tag the whole team, but then you won't know, like, each department's going to be a bit hard. So you can say, okay, you just tag the whole team, everybody in here. Hey, Henry changed his, and people who are not even assigned with Henry, or even like don't even work with Henry under the PPC apartment, it's not relevant to them. So just delete, right? And that's why I want to structure it depending on how you work with your team. Sometimes clients, sometimes not. So keep that in mind. Pick whatever makes sense for you. And if you have same clients, same guy who pays, same guy you talk to for all departments, so it's not different. Like if you talk to the same guy for SEO, for social, or for ads, have just one main client list and you're good to go. And then you can just give specific client updates based on the here. Okay, actually, Henry wants to talk about birds as well from Amazon, I guess. I'm not sure why. Henry wants to talk about birds for his SEO today. That's not really a common request. Hopefully not, I guess, but yeah, you get the point. So keep that in mind. And the big overview structure is just having one big list for SEO, social, ads, and clients. And then I will probably create another stuff called internal. And this is like all the big team stuff. So you as the owner, you as the guy handling the big decisions. I do recommend having a list of, let's say, maybe to do for each department, or this can be for the project managers or something, right? Okay, each in this case is going to be each project manager has to send me a report on efficiency this week. I spelled that was correct, wrong, right? So it depends, as I said, how you structure your teams, and every team I work with, it's completely different. Some people don't work like this, some people do. Some people just send a Slack. I like having everything in one place. I think it's the most efficient because then I can just tag everyone and make sure it's relevant, right? Or tag the 5 project managers we have without having to send like a separate information and so on. Each and every single person. So, however, I like to emphasize something which is super important. Is that each workspace has their own functionalities. So usually don't connect multiple workspaces. So keep that in mind. So the inbox in here is its separate inbox. So if you want to tag someone or talk with someone, or let's say, okay, I like having, like, you can't have a bigger overview. I mean, you can have everything space here, but you can't have a bigger overview than this. So if you have a dashboard for the discussion, this is only going to be under the payment side. So realistically, what I would want to do as an owner here, as someone who works with a lot of marketing assists with ClickUp, I'll probably have a workspace for kind of the decision makers, owners, your CTO, CEO, and CEO. And then I will have one for the fulfillment side, and you can have something else for like financials, right? And that's kind of how I would structure it, from what I've seen work very well. And the thing I always say to all marketing teams, don't add 100 functions, don't add a bunch of stuff that's complicated. Keep it as simple as possible for your team. And when I do training, I say the same thing for the teams. Let's start off with something very simple, something easy that's like just make it easy to implement. And we're creating like the dashboards. Just create, okay, calendar, that's it, that works. Okay, let's add a dashboard with just the simple dashboard, it works fine. And let's just add a workload status if you're tracking hours and so on, right? And then you're good to go. Like you don't have to add more stuff. Like I know I've created a bunch of stuff with ClickUp, obviously at this point. So, and like you can add so much stuff to connect, add like I've created the most, like I have a couple of templates here I can show you. This one probably, right? Active clients. And here I actually have meta information and so on from the clients. Quite interesting, right? And I can add so much. This is just a template, by the way. I can add so much stuff, information like due date, reach impressions, campaign budget, like add account links, time tracked, assignees. I mean, I can add a bunch of stuff, but it's just too much to keep track of. I mean, I have dashboards, I have complex post intake forms. Like I do have a lot, and I just like to keep things simple with one list, fulfillment, internal, and client. So when you're now building your own ClickUp board, keep it as simple as possible and don't add more stuff until the teams need it. So when you implement the ClickUp for your marketing agency yourself, keep it simple and keep it easy to implement without having to overcomplicate here. So don't too much, don't like add more stuff than you need, and just make it simple. And this is how I structure ClickUp in a very efficient and easy way without overwhelming you without the like I can do stuff that's much more complicated, but when it's starting out, keep it simple, keep it easy, and your team will love you. Like trust me, I've worked with lots of teams and I've just seen that the less you add, the better it is. Like don't add a list for each client. It's going to be horrendous. So good luck. If you ever need any help with ClickUp, of course, just comment or I guess email me if you want. But yeah, let me know and hope everything goes well with the ClickUp build. And of course, hope you have a wonderful day.